Hello back. Underfloor heating in extension. So I'm going to show you quickly all preparatory work. Basically, on the concrete that had membrane, damp-proof membrane below it, we run the pipes for hot and cold water for the sink. So just turn the camera around. So they are hot and cold for the sink there, and they're coming in straight line and coming out here. So they go into this little floor into utility room on the other side. And also we got sub-main cable here. It's coming up there and it's up here, big 25mm sub-main. So in the lines we got sub-main, cold, hot, separated about 6 to 8 inches, nice and straight, running from point A to point B. And then 2 heating pipes coming here for manifold and the cable linked with the boiler. Also I got 1.5-inch pipe running underneath across to feed power to the island. Now, as you could see, I didn't took loads of photos, but here is again. You can see the main pipes are running along there to that point, and the trunking pipe is running across there. Then after that, I'm laying 100mm insulation. That's what's specified by engineer. It's just a loose fit straight down on the floor, and wherever it's crossing the pipes I had to measure up and notch out the underside of insulation so the insulation doesn't rock over the pipe. And once all insulation is laid all the way around, I'm running the perimeter insulation that was supplied by Underfloor Heating Company. That's that yellow stuff that goes all the way around. All the way around the perimeter, including the doors and all of it. And then if we were just to do normal hand mixed or dry screed, that would be good enough. We could lay the pipe. But because we're going to pour leveling or self-leveling screed, which is very liquid, we have to put another membrane now, which is this black one, on top of the insulation, and tape up all the joints and all cutouts, like we got cut out there. It's all taped up because screed is liquid. It's not like water, but it is in liquid form. And what happens is, if it goes underneath the insulation, it will float the whole floor up. So you'll end up with a screed being below the insulation rather than on top of it. So that's why it needs to be polythined and brought up the walls high enough so no screed can pour behind it and get underneath the insulation. So once that is done, then I took a kitchen layout and just marked up with a floor paint, just a simple construction floor paint, marking paint, and marked up the outline of the kitchen cabinets, because we don't want to have underfloor heating underneath the cabinets. So we got a little cabinet here that's going to house manifold. That's going to be like a TV media wall. Then we got fridge, freezer, ovens, cabinet, hob, another cabinet, then big larder unit, corner, and then base of line of base units with a sink and dishwasher on that side. So that's why I'm not putting pipes there. And also on the island, I'm not putting any pipes under the island. The main reason is if you keep, say, baked beans in any of these cabinets, then with underfloor heating underneath, your cans could potentially explode because heat would accumulate. So yeah, now it's just unrolling the pipe. I'm not pulling it off the coil, I'm literally spinning the coil around so I don't get a twist in the pipe, and just gently bending it, and on my knees with little clips, and just clipping them 6 inch apart, which is, well, 150mm or 6 inch apart. It's not rocket science, it's not exact science, it doesn't have to be exactly 150mm. It can be 160, 170, 140, it doesn't matter. But as long as you keep somewhere there on 150mm line, it's fine. And then it's going to have 65mm of liquid screed all over it, which liquid screed will act as heat inertia medium that will actually take the heat off the pipe and spread it and fill in all the gaps in between the pipes. Where the pipe radiates the heat, the screed will take the heat, the warmth, and then you will not feel points of each pipe. The whole thing's just going to feel nice and even with heat. And yes, one thing forgot to mention, makes life easier. Wherever you get your underfloor heating, I got it from our local suppliers by being supplied by Hetta systems. They give you, I supply them with a room size and where the cabinet's gonna go, and they give me the layout, the way how to lay the pipe, and that should get us as pretty much, as you can see, 78.7 and 79.1 linear meters of the pipe on every 150mm. So that's why you really need to have a plan and work by the plan, because you really want to have both circuits, or 3, 4, 5, as many circuits you have, they need to be laid out evenly, or as even as you can, to avoid differential of the temperatures between two different sides. So I got that side there, that's the blue side, and that's the green side, and they're all coming from the manifold here. There's another little thing, very helpful thing on this Hetta pipe, is that the pipe is marked up with meters of the length of the pipe. So at any point, say that point there is 148 meter of the pipe, that point there is 118 meter, 116, 146, 153. You can see them there. So when you laying the pipe, I know, because I started pipe with 200 meter mark and I'm going backwards. So here I'm on 169 meters, 170 meters, so 169, so you're going back down, 168, 167, 166, and so on. So I can plan and keep eye on the meterage to keep it reference to the plan to get it to 78.7, say 79, or let's round them up to 80 meters. So as I started with 200 and going back down, I need to return back down there, and I'll have to have, I should be on the mark of 120 or about. It doesn't have to be exact. That's ideal scenario there on the plan, but it can be a couple of meters more and less. It's not that crucial. So very good as a reference point on laying the pipe and following the meterage. Another point with a pipe, it is multi-layered pipe. So it's got basically a polymer plastic layer inside, then it's got aluminium shield, or say like aluminium pipe in the middle, and then this white one outside. Good thing with that aluminium is what makes pipe is to hold its shape. So if you bend it, however you bend it, it stays there. It behaves more like a metal pipe rather than plastic. And it's very easily molded into shape. You have to obviously make sure that bends are nice, swoopy bends, smooth, and no kinks. Because if you do kink, you'll have to cut the pipe and join it, and you don't want to have joints under the screed. So ideally, no kinks. If you kink it, again, ideally, rip it up and put new pipe, or put a joint and hope for the best. So no joints, no kinks, no damages. From this point on, no other work should be done around this area to stop people accidentally damaging the pipe. So no electricians, no plumbers, no builders, no one around. Literally lay the pipe ready for screed, screed it. Once the screed goes off, people can start coming back, and a plasterer can start rendering that wall, and electrician doing his bits or whatever. But in the meantime, whilst this is going on, no one walks away. And here is all the pipe laid, clipped. I deviate from the plan a little bit because it was saying for that to go zigzag like that. I just done it long ways because it's less bends, so it's easier to do. Very similar thing here. But in effect, it's pretty much as on there. Only what we had is we had 80 meters there on that circuit, and we had 78.5 meters here on this circuit. So it's only 1.5 meters difference between circuits, which is good. Yeah, so that's all clipped and done. I've done a bit of flagging around the pipe where pipe will exit the screed down there, so it gives a bit of flexibility when you need to adjust the pipe. And also, I mean, it gets supplied, you get that corrugated conduit, but I don't like to use it. Like to use just a piece of pipe because it's nice and smooth inside. It's for the flow sensor probe. Because it's smooth, you can literally feed it nicely, and it goes nice and smooth all the way down to the bottom here, and that's where the probe's gonna be. in between, literally in that triangle between these pipes, and it's going to pick out that section of the floor temperature, and that section of the floor, that temperature will be same as anywhere else on the floor. You don't have to use floor probe. You can use the thermostat's its own built-in air temperature sensor, but because this room is going to have radiators, which is one just behind there and one is going to be back in here, that thermostat might get interference from heating of the radiators, so that's why we're going to run it off the probe. And that's basically it. Now the last thing to be done, it's all ready for leveling screed, apart from filling the pipes up. I really should fill the pipes with water, just normal water, tap water with a hose. I'm going to connect hose, I'm going to fill in both sections. It's literally to minimize buoyancy of the pipe so it doesn't float up. And it's all ready.